I'd like to introduce you to the Pro Bario side rail assembly. This is the finger assembly, and we're going to talk about how you fit the finger assembly inside the headboard and to the side rails. So firstly, we have, as you can see, the components that make up the finger assembly complete. So number one, we have a wire loop, we have the two finger assemblies, we have a spacer and an end stop. And this is for each end of the bed, and you need 2 sets per end. So in total we'd have 8 of the finger assembly, 4 of the wire loop, 4 end stops and 4 spacers. As you can see here now, we've actually put the assembly together and we've put them into the side rails. So this would be the lower side rail and this would be the upper side rail. And what we're interested in is maintaining a safe distance here when we lower the side rails. So as we lower the side rails, we always lower the upper side rail first. As we lower it, if I now take away the spacers, as we lower it, you'll notice the finger assembly sliding down the loop, the wire loop. If we didn't have the spacers, we would end up in a crush situation with people's fingers here. So as we pull that back up, you can see we maintain a position, and by adding the end stop and the spacer, when we then bring them down together, you'll see we automatically end up with this gap. That gap is approximately 65 millimeters. That prevents anybody from having their fingers trapped between the upper and the lower side rail. I'll just pop those back. As you can see, with the wire loop, we end up with these 2 closed ends. On the top with the wire loop, when we put it onto the top finger assembly, we don't use the wire loop. We place the wire loop over the top of the top finger assembly. The lower finger assembly, the closed end of the wire loop slots over the upper finger. That means that the upper finger assembly can slide up and down and can also then pull up and lower down the side rails, with the side rail remaining fixed. The lower side rail has an end stop placed in the side rail slider, which is in the headboard. That means that cannot go any further than the end stop, and we'll demonstrate this further on the video. Having looked at the finger assemblies, let's look at them now in situ inside the head and footboard. So firstly, we have a slide channel which is fitted inside the timber work and is affixed with a glue and with screw fixings. At the bottom you'll see an end stop, and you'll see at about 3/4 of the way up there's also a top stop. So the end stop prevents the rail dropping out of the channel, and the top stop prevents the finger assembly going any further up than it needs to in the system. Okay, so we have the wire loop sat inside and the finger assemblies, and also our end stop spacer and our other spacer. These can then move up slightly, but until we depress the side rail button, which allows us to drop the side rails, that allows the side rails through the finger assemblies to lower in through the sliding channel to the end stop. What then happens is the upper rail is allowed to continue, but it prevents any entrapment risk of the fingers here by having the 2 spacers available. Obviously the side rail is bigger than the finger assembly, but you still have sufficient clearance so you won't end up with any risk of entrapment. As we then want to lift the side rails, which we do lifting the upper side rail from the underside, you'll see that the wire loop here is waiting to receive the finger assembly. So as we slide up the channel, it then engages with the wire loop, and then as a result pulls the lower side rail, which is now encased around the wire loop, and pulls it up the channel and pushes, because our finger assembly has got a sharp point, pushes past the side rail. The side rail then is spring loaded, pushing in, and that means now that we've raised the side rails, and we cannot lower the side rails until will release the side rail button, as you can see here.